Hello and welcome. I'm your host Vanisteer, once again bringing you another build for Elden Ring PvP. This is my Torchpole build, a level 150 quality build with a focus on charge attacks for large bursts of damage. So, getting into the build, I'm using the Torchpole in my main hand and the Two Fingers seal in my offhand. The Two Fingers seal doesn't need to be upgraded at all, as we only use it for the Flame Grant Me Strength and the Flame Cleanse Me incantations. Flame Grant Me Strength is our sole buff spell for this build to increase both the physical and fire damage of the Torchpole. Once we finish casting the buff, we also want to two-hand the Torchpole for the slight increase to the weapon AR. Flame Cleanse Me is only used to alleviate stats buildup if the opponent build is focused on inflicting poison or Scarlet Rot. The armor that I'm using in this is the Raging Wolf set. You may see me using this armor a lot during my builds when there's no specific look that I'm actually going for. Next, my talismans for this build are the Spear Talisman, so when we trade with our opponents we get a damage buff, the Axe Talisman for a boost to our charged attacks, the Godfrey icon to boost our charged weapon skill, and the Shard of Alexander for a flat increase to our weapon skill. Now you may be wondering why I didn't include the Fire Scorpion charm in the talismans, however the reason is simple. I would never, ever recommend anything that decreases maximum HP or makes you take more damage, because that's a good way to get yourself one-shot by anyone using a colossal weapon. The stats for this build are 55 Vigor, 10 Mind, 10 Endurance, 50 Strength, 50 Dexterity, and 15 Faith. I also have a 10 in both Intelligence and Arcane, but that's because the class I started with for my playthrough was a Wretch. Lastly, when it comes to the Physic Flasks, we have some options. The 3 crystal tiers that can be utilized are the Flame Shroud and Crack tier for a temporary boost of fire damage, the Strength Knot crystal tier for a temporary plus 10 to strength, or the Dexterity Knot crystal tier for a temporary plus 10 to dex. I opted to use the Strength and Dexterity knots for the physical damage increase. My reasoning for doing this is simple. It actually lies with the in-game mechanic that occurs when your character is wet. When this happens, your fire damage negation increases, and this also applies to your opponent as well, so you will do less fire damage with the Torchpole. So, by using the Strength and Dex knots, you increase the weapon's physical damage instead. But that's just me. Feel free to do whatever you'd like. Anyways, that's all for the build, and stick around for my closing thoughts. Enjoy the rest of the video. So, closing thoughts. This build was extremely fun to use. It's not an easy build to play with, especially against some of the meta weapons in the game, but once you get used to it, it's really enjoyable. I'd recommend this build in duels more than invasions, however, as it's not very suited to fighting multiple opponents at once. But yeah, that was the build. Tell me in the comments if you plan to use this build and how it turned out, and if you have any unconventional build ideas, please make sure to share them with me, and maybe I'll make them into one of my videos. Plus, if I use your build, I'll make sure to give you a shout out at the beginning of the video. Alright guys, that's all for this video. I have more builds coming soon, so turn on notifications to stay updated with the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.